Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Divorce Unplugged, episode 13 to be exact. Geoff, hello to you and welcome.
Hello, and I hope this is not an unlucky one. So, for some,
Lucky 13, yep. Bit of a different one today, a special episode, something a little bit different from the normal. About 20 songs to help you get through a breakup. A list made by yours truly.
yes, something close to my own heart, the world of music. So, sometimes it's good to step away from the black letter law and look into an overarching wellness topic.
Yep, so why are we talking about songs and music in general?
Well, again, I put my science hat on. Apart from why do we like music? And there's a couple of answers. The science about listening to music really shows that music increases your blood flow to your limbic system, which is one of your internal systems, helps us process emotion, controls your memory, and our brain actually lights up when our ears perceive music.
So does different music do different things?
It does. Upbeat music causes the brain to produce things called dopamine and serotonin. So dopamine is the chemical that invokes feelings of joy, and different music works differently. So some can produce cortisol, and we've talked about that earlier, which is a stress hormone, which is great if you're involved in some combat sport. But generally speaking, we want to keep it a little bit lower to avoid things like road rage.
Yeah. So you have picked a number of different tunes here on the list to help with a breakup. What was your basis around choosing them?
Well, I looked at a few different things. I looked at how the songs were written. I talked about the tempo and the lyrics. Do they create positive outcomes or reflections on the listener, and can they actually help you move forward? So some songs have a visual impact as well, allowing listeners to be taken to another place, which can be helpful from time to time.
All right, so can you give us an example of this, although not a song on the list?
Okay, as an example, so what's a song that takes you to another place? I think a great one is Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. So if you listen to that song, it takes you away visually and emotionally to another place. You can't help but think you're sitting by the water listening to that song.
All right. Well, let's dive in. What do you got first up?
Well, I started with the left field. So there's a song, didn't want to go through what we call 20 stock standard songs that everyone probably has heard on the radio. But the first one is Dream a Little Crazy by a band called Architecture in Helsinki.
Right, so why have you chosen this one?
Well, it's uplifting lyrics, I think. It's a great pop song, and it reminds us that we need to get the best out of ourselves, hence the title Dream a Little Crazy.
All right. Okay. Song two?
Song two is the famous song Jackie Wilson Said I'm in Heaven. And the version I've picked out of is the cover version by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Okay, so why the cover and not the original?
Well, I actually heard the original last night at a Rock Wiz live concert. Good version, but I think Dexy's Midnight Runners just put that even extra foot-tapping oomph into it and proved to themselves that their famous song Come On Eileen wasn't just a one-hit wonder.
All right. Moving on to song number 3 now. What have you got for us there?
So song number 3 is a song that I've always loved called Rattlesnakes by a band called Lloyd and the Commotions. It's been around for a little while, but still holds itself up well.
Yeah, okay. In what way?
Well, musically, superbly put together. The instrumentation in it is really, really good. The message is empowering overall, and the lyrics themselves are uplifting and reflective.
Can you give us an example of a favourite lyric in the song?
Well, the whole song itself is the opening line is "A girl needs a gun these days on account of all the rattlesnakes." Is a fantastic analogy. She's not talking about rattlesnakes. She's talking
What's she talking about?
She's talking about the men in her life.
Ah, right.
So, and one of the other great lines is, "Oh, it's so hard to love when love was your great disappointment." Now, it's pretty true, and but yeah, it just pulls a thread that's always stuck with me.
All right. Song number 4?
So let's go to Australia. It's one of those songs that takes you to another place. It's Kimberly Calling by Dan Sultan.
Okay, so why have you picked this one?
Oh, it's just a great melody to start with. Lovely guitar work in it, and a bit like Otis Redding's Dock of the Bay, it's a perfect description of the Kimberley coast in Australia, and sort of gives you that feeling. If you've ever been there, it's sort of your mind will take you to all the places he refers to in the song.
Well, I haven't, so I might have to give that one a listen. There's actually a couple of songs I haven't heard on this list, so I might have to give them a go on the way home, up to song number 5.
Song number 5. Let's jump into it. One of those ones that I grew up with, Teacher's Pet, was a song from School of Rock, but the version I've picked is the Triple J Like a version by Grent Perez, an Australian young lad out of Sydney.
All right, so another song where you've chosen the cover, not the original.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think sometimes when you get to my vintage, I think you've heard the original enough times, and a really interesting twerked up cover actually works quite well with me. But it's just a really smooth version, and takes me back to a place where my actual children were growing up in the wonderful movie School of Rock, which is one of several movies that were the foundation of our sort of relationship during their teenage years.
Yep, good. All right, song number 6.
Song number 6, well, we've jumped into that. Let's have a listen. It's a more upbeat tempo song, Lightning Bolt, by UK singer Jake Bugg, which is a rockabilly masterpiece. Just wants to make you dance.
Okay, is it? I think I know this song, so I like this one. Why have you picked this one?
Oh, look, if you look at some of the great songs that just want to get you moving on a dance floor or do some dancing, you've got things like Earth, Wind and Fire. You can't go past songs like Let's Groove or September. The Mighty Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars, or even the Walk 500 Miles. We go the throwback to the Proclaimers. There are songs that are written that just make you happy and want to move and dance and be joyful.
All right, so that's the reason behind Lightning Bolt by
is.
Jake Bugg. All right.
If you want to do any rockabilly dancing, rock and roll dancing, that's the song.
All right, I'm not a dancer, but I'm happy to tap away and listen to that one. So what's next? Next song on the list?
All right, well, we'll go back to the slower tempo, and we'll talk about Tiny Dancer by Elton John.
Yeah, all right. Just talk us through this one.
Well, it's actually been studied as being a great cortisol-reducing song to actually reduce road rage or anger in people. But that's not really the reason I chose it, but it's probably the number one song played on Spotify in my household. My wife truly loves the song. The lyrics are delicate and relational, and this is a relationships podcast. So I think if you listen to it and give it a good listen, not just for the lovely piano work from Elton, but the lyrics themselves as written, it's just a great overall wonderful pop tune.
Okay, next one.
Okay,
What do we got next?
let's change it a little bit. So going back to my youth, grew up with the bands called The Church, and other Australian independent rock pop outfits, but the version I'm picking for this one is a song called The Unguarded Moment, which is again a Triple J version by contemporary Ruby Fields. Yes,
I know Ruby Fields. I don't mind a few of her tunes. Again, you've gone for another cover as opposed to the original.
Well, we're now over 40 years down the track from the original, so it's time to sometimes freshen it up. And when you listen to her take on it, it's just a lovely, easy, flowing feel, and the lyrics in it, are really. She opens the lyrics up a little bit to the listener as well, which is super reflective. And when you actually listen to someone saying, "Look, let's kick the doubters down the road and have enough self-belief," and that's what the song's all about when you actually listen to the lyrics.
All right. So have you got some songs that can help us reflect on the past?
There are plenty of songs along those lines, but I've gone contemporary Australian again. So the wonderful song Moments by Bliss N Eso is a great example of that genre. So not everyone's a fan of Australian hip-hop, but this song is a good advertisement. Super retrospective and reminds us that not everything that happened in our life was good or bad, but it was just a lived experience. So if you listen to other hip-hop songs like Jimmy Ricard by Draft or Get Up Out of the Dirt by Butterfingers, they're all songs that remind us we can reinvent ourselves or pick ourselves up when we're down.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so we're getting towards the end of the list now. What else? What have you got to finish us off?
Well, let's jump back into the rock and roll genre, which a lot of us grew up on, but there's no better band than ACDC in that genre. So plenty of choices, but I think for our list today, talking about reflection, I think it's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, is my number one choice.
It's an interesting choice. Why have you chosen that?
Well, if the lyrics are all about, look, it is a long way to the top, and despite the setbacks, you can still climb a mountain in life.
All right, I like it. You've got one more. So what is your big finisher?
Well, let's talk about the ones that I thought about and then didn't
Okay.
Put it
Righto.
on.
Yeah.
Plenty of choices. There was contemporary singers Mia Dyson and her wonderful new song, When the Moment Comes, the retrospective song from Little River Band, Help Is On Its Way. Those sort of titles are self-explanatory, but the song I wanted to throw out there is one that's more than 30 years old. It was at my wedding, and it was I Melt With You by Modern English.
Okay. So why have you picked that one, and why did you have it played at your wedding?
Well, it's the lyrics are I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference, and it's getting better all the time. It reminds us that we're not, again, designed to be solitary creatures. We need to share our experiences and love, and that's always going to be a pretty cool thing in my view. So that one's always close to my heart, and a great finisher for a playlist for today.
Yeah, that was good. There were a lot of songs in there that I hadn't heard of before, and like you said, it certainly wasn't your traditional breakup song list that you might see made on Spotify. So it was good I'll have to go through myself there and search a few of those songs to hear them for the first time. So yeah, thanks for bringing that. That was good.
No, I did enjoy that, and go and tinker with your music collection every now and again as well. As I've talked about reinventing yourself and trying new things, go and listen to some different music. There's so much great music out there over so many great decades. Whether you're 25 or 55, have a good time listening to music, because it's, as the science says, it's good to do.
All right. I'm not going to let you have all the fun. I'm going to have one. I've got one for you.
You've got a song.
I've got a song.
I'm really interested about this today. What song are you going to add to the playlist for today?
It's a song by Green Day, and it's on their American Idiot album called What's Her Name. So it's about he refers to her as What's Her Name, a girl that he no longer, he knows her, but he no longer wants to remember her name. The lyrics go, I wonder how What's Her Name has been, and forgetting you but not the time. So it just relates to the fact that he wants to forget about her, but he won't forget what she did to him. And it also goes in that it just shows that at the time it might hurt, and the memories may still stick with you and hurt, but there's always time and opportunity to move on. So that's a good one, that one.
A wonderful polishing of our diamond today. Thanks, Dane. That's great.
No worries. All right, Geoff, thanks for that list of songs. That was a good way to finish up episode 13 of Divorce Unplugged. I hope you guys listening and watching enjoyed that, and frantically searching your Spotify accounts now to listen to some of those tunes. We will link the music and the songs and the artists in the show notes as well, so you can go back and have a look. So, Geoff, thank you.
Look forward to getting some feedback. Wonderful. Thanks for